Okay, so in our second video, we're going to have a look at how to draw some different shapes using that exact same method. So we're going to try and draw something a bit like this one here. So don't be intimidated by it, because we're going to go through it nice and easily, step by step again. So, fresh page, or you can just draw on the back of the paper you've got, and just a horizon line and 2 points. Okay, keep the points quite far apart from each other. Don't put the points too close to each other, so don't do that. We don't want them too close, we want them quite far apart and positioned nice on the page. Grab your ruler. And what we're going to do is we're going to create kind of like the front building that's going to be on the corner of a street. Grab your ruler and line up to your X, like so, and like so. So we've done that bit. We did this in the previous video, so we're just creating that first shape again. And then back down here, like so. So we've got our lovely shapes, like that. Well, we're going to redo those lines again quickly, because I'm not as happy with them. And there's nothing wrong with if you're not happy with some of the lines, like they don't join up properly or anything like that. You can just rub them out and just do them again. It's not the end of the world. And line up. See if that one's a bit better. I'm a little bit happy with that one, that's better. So now what we're going to do is we're going to decide, well, I'm going to make the edge of my building here. So that's going to be the first edge, and I'm going to have another edge here. Okay, so that is kind of like one wall here. There's going to be a wall and there. So then we take our ruler, exactly the same as the previous one, line it up with there, across, and across, like so. And then what that does is that gives us that almost like a skyscraper kind of feel. And to make it a little bit more detailed, what we're going to do is we're going to add some windows. So I'm going to shrink my pen ever so slightly, because I can't sharpen this to make it thinner. And I'm just going to mark some little points at the top here. And what this is going to be is the sizing for my windows. So I've marked those two, and this bit here is going to be a window, and then that bit there is going to be a window. So I line up my ruler, and try and do this softly. I'm doing it quite hard on here so you can see it, but just do it nice and softly, these lines, because you're going to rub these out afterwards. So these should be softer lines. And down. Okay, and then what we do is we turn our ruler and we line it up with our vanishing point over here. So what I would do is I would decide, just roughly putting where I want the top and bottom of my window to be. Top and bottom, and maybe top and bottom there. Grab my ruler again. And what we're kind of doing is creating like a grid. So we line up with 1 point, because you should be able to see my ruler. Positioned it like so. And I'm going to try and get these. You can, if you want to, draw it all across like that, but then you're going to have to rub out a lot of lines. So what I would suggest you do, is if I zoom in a bit more here, just to show you, if you only draw across the window bits that you need, it then means you've got a lot less to rub out. And then I'm going to go down to this one, across and across, and across and across, and across and across. Oh, I've got to go back, because I have not moved my ruler each time. That's my mistake. Try again. So what we're going to do is line up with these edges. And the mistake that I made is that I wasn't lining it up with that point again. So you have to make sure that you're lining up with the vanishing point each time. Otherwise, when you draw them on, the windows won't be at the right angle, because the angle changes as you move the ruler down. You then need to adjust that angle. Hence why we've always got a single point that we're drawing to. Let's say, so I'll draw here, and I'll draw this single point. Across there. And line it up. Then your next points. And you'll notice that the windows kind of become thinner, thinner and thinner as you go down, which they should do. So we can then add a little bit of shading just to show where those windows are. Okay, and you should see that they kind of go off at a bit of an angle, and it's that illusion that they're going off and they're getting slightly smaller, because remembering that as things go into the distance they get smaller. So next we can start lining up with this side, and we can start positioning where we want our windows to be. So I might put there, kind of trying to replicate the other side as much as I can. So trying to keep a rough same distance. And then what we do is we use these same points again so that we can make sure that our windows do line up with each other. So I'm using the same point for both sides so that it would go like that way. And I'm going to copy these lines down. And draw across this way. But just to save me having to rub out lots, like that. Line up with that one. Line up with that one. And by doing this, you should be getting a really good idea of how to draw these in two-point perspective. And this is really good for like architects, because they can get an idea of bigger products and bigger sizings of things. And I would probably rub out the bottoms of these so they line up with the bottoms of the other ones properly. So it's all about just going across and seeing what works, what doesn't work, and then you can always correct things as you go. So don't be afraid to rub things out and change bits, and really look at, making sure that they all line up correctly, because it's all about the way that these go on there so that you can kind of see how they go. And then what I want you to do is to have a go at adding some more buildings. So you could add a building that maybe it's a bit smaller, this next one. So maybe it goes to this height. And what you do is you line this point up with your vanishing point, draw across that way, and then you line this edge up to your vanishing point that way. And you can decide how long you want your building to be. So it might only go to there, and I might draw across this way, just to show the edge of the building. And then you can start adding maybe windows that go along like that. So we would line up these windows with our vanishing point. Again, always referring to those vanishing points, otherwise it's not going to work. Vanishing point to that one. Vanishing point. Vanishing point. Go try that one again slightly. I'm going to get rid of this bit here. And hopefully you're seeing that these are starting to create some different 3D effects that are different to the previous one you did. So have a go at creating some different buildings on here, and I'll put this one up just to show you the sort of things that you can work towards creating.